Hey everyone, this is Will from PowerTraders.com. Today guys, I'll be doing our weekly analysis on cryptocurrency. So let's jump ahead and take a look at Bitcoin. As you guys can see here, we're having a little bit of pullback, right? So we're now, since it's all-time high, we're now down roughly about 16%. So nothing too crazy, guys. So far we're holding some key support levels. As you guys can see here, yes, we did have a wick, we broke below it, but on the daily chart, right, looks like we're going to close above the support level as well as this red line here. And of course, this red line here is quite important because it is, although it's not the highest weekly close, the highest weekly close was actually here. But I do think this level is key important because this was the highest weekly close on Bitcoin for months, right? This was the highest ever level close until, of course, we had this one here. So what I want to see heading to the end of this week, right, guys? We want to see price essentially, one, definitely close above this. And the best scenario is to close above this. If we manage to close above this weekly candle here, then that will look really bullish, right? Because what that means is this week will be the highest weekly close ever in Bitcoin's history. So heading to the end of this week, at the very least, we want to see close above this red line. And the best case scenario is to close above this line, which would give us, the highest level of weekly close in Bitcoin's history. And of course, that's important because that keeps price looking pretty bullish, at least from the technical perspective, right? All right, anyways, let's look at Ethereum against, let's start with Ethereum against the US dollar first. As you guys can see here, we are coming up, we're testing key resistance right now. As you guys can see here, it has held. You can see here we had a wick here, but price quickly came back down and continued to trade, kind of consolidate in this range. So we may be consolidating this range for a while. But on the other hand, we could get a bullish breakout coming up to test this level here. So let's see what happens, guys. On Ethereum, if you look on the weekly chart, okay, just like Bitcoin, I apologize how this is a bit messy on the weekly here. Just bear with me here. So last week, we finally had the highest close ever in Ethereum's history, right? Roughly around 4,085. And this week, it seems like we're on track to set another weekly highest weekly close in Ethereum's history. Again, this is on the weekly chart. This looks incredibly bullish, right? Because look at this. Every week, the past 3 weeks, well, if you exclude this one, the past 5 weeks, we have had 4 candles, weekly candles, that has closed higher than the previous one, right? So what that's indicating is momentum is strong, right? Because on the weekly, we continue to make newer highs. And this week, again, not that on top of the fact that we're making new highs, if we do close this week at around this price level here, guys, just like Bitcoin, that's going to be the highest weekly close in Ethereum's history. And of course, that's super important for the bullish momentum and people continuing to buy, because when you continue to get higher and higher weekly close every single week, right? That's really strong technical price action there. And of course, that would naturally bring in more buyers when price is so bullish. It has so much momentum to the upside. But as I showed you guys earlier, right, we are facing key resistance right now. I do think we will break it and come back up and test this level here, roughly around 4,700. And yeah, pretty much set new all-time high. I mean, we're already even right now, if even today is quite important, right? If you look at it, this is we have a few hours left, and if we do close up here, that's going to be, at least on the daily, the highest daily close in Ethereum history too. So a lot of action, a lot of stuff is playing out here, and price is also interesting, at least on Ethereum, is respecting levels here really well. As you guys can see here, right, we're consolidating just below this resistance level. All right, let's look at Ethereum against Bitcoin. It's having a bit of recovery, as you guys can see here, right? I've said many times that I do think there's a really good shot we're going to come back down here, right? This has been a key resistance level before, and considering how Bitcoin's dominance has been rising in the overall cryptocurrency market, I really thought that there's a really good shot we'll come back down here. I made that pretty clear the past few weeks, but as you guys can see here, that didn't play out, at least not, not yet. As you guys can see here, although we came below this black line here, we're now above it. We came back up. Seems like we had a bit of retest, and now we're zooming off. So let's see what happens in the coming weeks. I really, I would be very surprised if we come back up here, right? But again, who knows? It's really hard to say. And I think, everybody, like I mentioned in my previous video, everybody in the market knows Ethereum is going to do really well in January, right? It's like if it does well in pretty much every Q1, pretty much. So, whether that has already been pricing in the market or is being priced in the market, I'm not really sure. Again, as I mentioned earlier, Bitcoin's dominance is rising, right? However, at least this week, the past 2 weeks, despite the fact that Bitcoin's dominance is rising, you can clearly see here, Ethereum is outperforming Bitcoin the past 2 weeks. So that is a bit contradicting information, right? Because you would expect Ethereum to underperform when Bitcoin's dominance is rising, but that's actually not the case. So you have to respect what the data is telling us, what the prices level are telling us, and right now what it's telling us is Ethereum's will continue to outperform. But let's see. I'm very curious to see what happens when Bitcoin enters another wave of price discovery. I'm very curious what's going to happen to this ratio here, right? Whether we're going to come back down, maybe break below this black line again, right? Maybe a bearish breakout, who knows? Maybe we'll come back up. Again, I do think coming back up here is unlikely, at least not until Q1, right? If entering to Q1, I won't be surprised at all that we'll come back up to these levels here. Maybe even see a breakout, who knows? All right, let's take a look at Polkadot again. Super interesting here, guys. Polkadot. We are still consolidating in this range though. Nevertheless, you guys can see here we had a very decisive breakout, came back down, got a retest, and we got another retest this week. Actually, you guys can see here, and let's see if we hold in the coming days. Of course, we got these really strong key resistance level. We still gonna have to break until Polkadot enters price discovery. But nonetheless, in terms of price levels, it's been super clean, right? We're holding this support level here. We also have this key key support level here too. So I won't be surprised if we break it, come back down here before we're zooming off to test these key resistance level up here, right? All right, let's take a look at Link. It's finally seeing a bit of action. You guys can see here. Well, mostly this week here. If you look on the weekly, past 2 weeks, we're seeing price coming back up a bit. Of course, we're still below this red line here, and this red line here is really important, right? So we see multiple attempts to get back above it, multiple attempts, right? Every single time rejected, right? So this level here is really important, and we want to see price break above this level, right? So that's what I'm eyeing on. Once we get above that level, well, for one, we might get rejected, but when we do come back above it, I think that's gonna be interesting. I think you're definitely gonna have to keep an eye out for Link if we come back up about 35, if we break this level. But let's see here, guys. Again, just like I said earlier, we could get rejected, right? Who knows? We could still get rejected and just kind of trade sideways for a while. Who knows? But so far, Link, although seeing a bit of decent price action, still way above this level here. Way below. All right, let's take a look at ADA. Of course, we had a bit of a sell-off. You guys can see here, since this incredible move up here that started in July, early August. We're now down roughly about, let's see here, we're down roughly about 41%. So we retrace quite a bit of this wave here, right? We're down 40%. And to be honest, I won't be surprised at all that we continue to kind of trade sideways. Of course, this is a major support level, right? And there is a possibility that we do break it, get a bearish breakout. It's unlikely. And when you think about it, if we say we do come back down to this level here, right? Say we do, that's roughly about a 55% decline. That's pretty nasty. This would imply like another 15 on top of the already 15 correction we saw in Bitcoin, right? We'll most likely see like another 15-20% sell off on Bitcoin for a move like this to play out on ADA. So I do think that's unlikely, but who knows? What could happen is we could have a false breakout, something like that, and then quickly come back up and then continue to trade sideways and go higher. We could also just trade sideways like this, and then eventually kind of get close to this support here, and then finally resume up. I know this is somewhat unpopular, but we plan for every scenario, right? Whether it's straight up, whether it's a false breakout, whether we will come back down, whether it's a crash, whether we'll trade sideways and then come test it. We plan, and we plan for all the possible scenarios, so both bullish or bearish, right? Especially in a market like cryptocurrency, which is incredibly volatile. But volatility, as most traders would say, it could be an opportunity. Although I would say I would strongly discourage you to trade cryptocurrencies. But the reason why I do technical analysis on cryptocurrency is, well, what if, right? In terms of probability, what if we do come back down here? Say there's 20% chance we come back down here, and we do end up down here. What are you gonna do? Are you gonna buy? Are you gonna sell? Right? These are questions you're gonna have to ask, because, well, one, the market's volatile, so sometimes you're just gonna see some crazy moves taking us, whether it's just some crazy support levels or to the upside. And then when those type of price action happens, right? Obviously, you're gonna have to ask yourself: do I buy? Do I sell? Is there an opportunity here? Or what are the risk-reward ratio, right? So that's why understanding the levels and understanding what price is telling us is critical in all asset classes, especially ones that are traded on exchanges. The levels are super important, in my opinion. So let's take a look at the altcoin index very quickly. Again, it's been lagging a bit, and of course, altcoin index is dominated primarily by at least this index is dominated primarily by Ethereum and ADA. So it hasn't done much, as you guys can see here. It's just been kind of trading sideways. If you look at the Bitwise 20, all right, so look at Bitwise 70. If you look at 1 month, Bitcoin, well, you can see here recently Bitcoin's been lagging, right, since October 20th, and we see here altcoins, especially Bitwise 70, small cap, which is a small cap, right? It is gaining a bit of ground here. The past 7 days, if you look, altcoins the past 7 days has been outperforming Bitcoin. So let's see here. I do think altcoin season has not started yet. I do think it's most likely going to start in November and December, and again, that is largely based on the first wave we saw in 2020, right? That's but nonetheless, let's see here, guys. It's interesting to see here that this week altcoins are outperforming Bitcoin. Maybe next week, as Bitcoin, and Bitcoin enter another wave of price discovery, and then it'll be flipped. Bitcoin would then outperform. But I am tracking this very closely, right? Because I do think alt season will be upon us quite soon. So definitely keep a close eye on this, and I'll absolutely keep you guys updated on this for sure. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more content.